Cash is king. And specifically, when it comes to running a business, we're talking about making sure that your cash flow is set up properly so that you can play the long game, the game that winners play, not the short term game, the game that losers play. Let's get into it. This episode is brought to you by Rife Martin CPA. Rife Martin CPA is so good that all the best people want to talk to them about their money for their business, right? And the
It's
ones
so
that
much
don't
better.
talk, the ones that don't, just don't know about them yet.
Exactly, right? I was gonna say I'm like strawberry jelly as
Not,
opposed to
yeah, go ahead.
as opposed to grape jelly.
Or orange marmalade.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for
Oh my.
educating me on what marmalade was, because yeah,
Ugh,
I like
give me
pineapple
strawberry.
jelly too.
Which kind?
Pineapple? Do you like pineapple?
Oh, I've never tried that one. I've tried pineapple salsa.
Yeah, you would probably like pineapple jelly. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, I can try that.
Let's
Well, okay. So if we know that strawberry jelly is king, how does that relate? How can we translate that to being cash is king, and why is that important?
this is how we translate it, because Exxon has a good refinery, and in order to get jelly, you gotta have a refinery.
Oh my God.
Exxon doesn't think in quarters; they think in decades, and so they like to invest in stable projects that pay them consistent dividends, so they can make money through recessions and avoid desperate moves. That was my notes for
Yes.
this conversation about Exxon, which again was just it's such an impressive story. I know there's multiple books written about him. There's podcasts on it. There's YouTube things on it. But I mean, I was thoroughly impressed by Exxon.
I completely agree. And I will just say one of the things we were talking about is why is free cash flow a better indicator than earnings? So a lot of business owners, what they will look at is, did I make a profit? Now, of course, they're looking at the profit because ultimately, and unfortunately, a lot of business owners and even individual taxpayers, their sole goal is, am I getting a refund for my tax return? And they view the W-2 or the income statement as the report card to determine how much tax they're going to owe. That's an important part. That is important because we all owe tax. However, that's just a part of the financial plan. So you need to make sure that you have enough cash to be able to cover, um, to weather the storm. So again, I think if we talked about the idea of having 6 months of cash on, or enough cash to cover 6 months of operating expenses, that's a better indicator of how well you're going to do in uncertainty.
Can you give like a specific? You can just make up a business based on like a real business, but give like a specific example of like a business that in the process they went through where they were thinking about cash flow, and they were like, all right, I have this project and I have that project, and they chose a project because the cash flow was set up, which maybe it wasn't sexy, but it was aligned with their purpose and gave them money through storms.
So, I mean, you can think of, I mean, in terms of business owners, not a sick, in terms of a unfun, but maybe somebody who builds buildings.
Mm.
Everybody, again, there's an idea of weathering the storm too. You can't weather the storm if you don't have a good solid foundation. Is that a sexy business? No.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like buying jewelry, but it provides a great service to your customers. So you're sitting there thinking, well, then what do I need to have to be able to do that? I need cement. I need, steel so that I can have, build the building. I need glass for the windows, kind of a thing. What do I need to have in place to be able to do that? Plus, provide for my employees who are going to build it.
Mm-hmm.
That goes into the thinking long term of 6 months of or operate enough cash to cover 6 months of expenses based on how long you think it'll take to do the project. So that would be an example of one.
Got it. Here's one idea I have that I want to think through too, and I get your thoughts on it. Like so, um, going back to me pricing everything in gold, right?
Hmm.
I know that depending on the area that you're in, let's let's say we were talking to a business owner, right? And they were saying, "Hey, Philip, Allison, I have this project that, like, I have this thing I can invest in, but I need money for marketing, right? And it's a profitable product. And so I think that if we had X amount of dollars, that we put into it, we can generate 30% a year, for the next 5 years easily on the project, right? The problem is I got to make the investment, right? And so I know there's businesses that are sitting on, like, for example, like uh, real estate in an area that, well, they're sitting on equity that is not going to appreciate at 30% a year for the next 5 years, right? Given, where they are. I'm just giving a specific example. So in that example, like, wouldn't you think it might be a good thing to think about borrowing some of the equity against the property to put it to work more aggressively, right? Because you can borrow from it, you can sell it to an investor who wants the cash flow, right? You got multiple options, but I think that's some of the creative things that business owners are just maybe not looking at. Um,
It makes me think of that buy, borrow, die idea.
mm, yeah, yeah,
Where you're leveraging an asset to be able to help you invest in the next one. I mean, you could think of it like the mortgage on your home. You could think of it like taking out funds to invest, again, to invest in and have the cash to be able to build, excuse me, to be able to build your product that is going to, solve your customers' problems. So I don't see anything wrong with that as long as you're thoughtful about it. Because again, cash is king.
cash is king. Yeah, yeah. And so, this is, these are like capital allocation decisions,
Hmm.
um, that I feel like business owners, and Exxon specifically was very good at. I'm trying to think of some other ones that we can sort of freestyle on before we wrap it up. But like what are some other, like, things that business owners can do to be creative around, buffering cash or building cash, or reallocating unproductive assets to productive assets?
Well, I was going to say, don't be blinded by the bling of the new thing. It's
Mm,
like sometimes that old computer is still working. Why not? Do you need to go out and invest it? And, that frees up money to be able to invest in the thing that's really going to propel you to the next level. So or don't focus on if I buy it now, it'll save me, if I invest $1 today, but I'll save 10 cents in taxes tomorrow. Was it worth it? Did you really need it? Don't just focus on a lot of at the end of the year in particular, and it's not a bad strategy, but be thoughtful about it. And people will invest in capital equipment just to save tax dollars.
mm,
Well, you took away a whole bunch of cash that obviously will save you tax, but it's not going to save all of the money that you just invested in that thing. So just be thoughtful about why you're buying it. Does it align with your purpose?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think another thing people can uh, businesses are rethinking, um, is integrating AI, right,
Hmm.
into because you can invest in AI, like, in an inexpensive way, but the productivity, like, explodes. For
Hmm.
I've not talked to one person, not one person, like, not one single person, and you know me, I talk about AI like every day, right? There's not one person that hasn't played with AI with their business and life and didn't marvel at the productivity.
I was gonna say, and accountants in particular are incredibly skeptical people, and even we can see how it's going to help, especially when you sit there and think long term of the CPA shortage. So you're going to have to do something different to be able to still provide the products and services that you want to provide.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think this solves a lot of the shortages, right? For
Right.
with
Yeah, not just CPAs, but and then also too, it frees you up to do more of the interesting work that you like to do. You're not just, doing all of the grunt work or whatever. So it helps you become better at your craft.
absolutely. Let everybody know how they can reach you if they want to strategically think through all of their assets, their balance sheet, and think about how to become better at managing their money, um, for their business to strengthen their balance sheet over time.
So you can reach me at my website, rifemartincpa.com, or you can email me at info@rifemartinaccounting.com. And I would love to talk with you about this and any other fun accounting or tax topic.
Thanks for sharing, Allison.
Have a great day.
Philip Washington Jr. is a registered investment advisor. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and/or tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.